So this is Crystal O'Loughlin from Angel Aid Cares, and I am so honored to have this time with Smriti Bhattacharya. Smriti, welcome to our world, right? This is our interview series with rare mothers. So thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, absolutely. And um, maybe if you could talk about how we had the opportunity to meet each other, that would be a great starting point for our discussion.
I've been thinking about that, and I think the universe conspired to get us together. It was the beginning of the pandemic, and we were all figuring out how to, work remotely, work online. And Microsoft had its hackathon, and I joined a project that seemed interesting. It was the Angel Aid project, and it was a Hack for Good initiative. And the more I learned about Angel Aid and everything that you were talking about rare moms, and I was like, she's talking about my story, like, and then I took up the translation of the workbook that you do, right, for the sustainable mom. And I was going to translate it to Hindi, and I read, and of course I had to go through that, and I read it. And that's when I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is exactly what I need right now. And I think the rest is history, right? Like, we've been working together ever since. uh, I think we've done at least 3 hacks together, and the events, and it's been amazing. And thank you for connecting me with the Angel Aid community. It's been very, very powerful, and it's really helped me prioritize myself and introspect. And yeah, I can go on. It
Yeah,
gets emotional, so yeah.
it it is. Well, and so wasn't that, like you said, a divine connection or the universe conspiring because we needed um, to be inclusive. We have this community that's centered around mothers of children, um, minor children and adult children, but children with rare genetic diseases. And we have a wellness methodology called the Sustainable Mom, and we wanted to include mothers from around the world, and so to do that, needed to translate our methodology into these different languages. And you raised your hand and you said, "Yes, I can help with the Hindi translation." And at that point, I don't think you had revealed that you have a child with a rare disease. That this is an identity called a rare mother that you had never really considered yourself. And so so talk to us about your family and your story. How did you get to that first moment of awareness that that something was happening in your family with rare disease?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm a twin mom. I had my kids about 4 years ago after a long struggle with fertility. And during the pregnancy, everything was normal, every scan was normal. So, we didn't really expect anything, so we were not prepared for anything. But when my sons, Kian and Ronan, were born, and they do the usual tests on them, and they found that Kian had an anatomical issue. So he was rushed to the children's hospital, and then we found out he has something called a Vactor syndrome. So basically, he had renal, spinal, and anorectal issues. And that, so I was basically thrown into the deep end of parenting with twins, which these were my first kids, right? And on top of that, a that had some life-threatening issues. They were life-threatening at that point, right? And the first year was particularly hard. Like, he underwent like 6 surgeries, including one that helped him walk and things like that. So they were like major surgeries, most of them. Yeah. So it was interesting. It has been the last 4 years, have been a roller coaster ride. And it took us a while from learning that he had a problem to coming to the acceptance, and as a family, and now, like, it's become a way of life for us.
Mm,
So yeah, yeah, that's basically my story.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. And your son um, is now your sons are how old now?
They're four
They're
now. They
4.
just started preschool. I'm
Wow.
so grateful that Kian can go to preschool and have a relatively normal life. There are things that we have to do on a daily basis, so that he can, have a normal life. But like, he needs a daily procedure and things like that. But on the whole, yes, they're four and they're starting to talk. Their personalities are amazing. So it's been pretty amazing from that perspective. I'm like super grateful that we were able to get to this point.
Yeah, yeah. And and in celebrating these abilities, right? Uh, you've also probably carried a lot of worries and concerns and wonderment for the future, what's going to happen, and how did you handle your emotions before you got engaged with Angel Aid, and then maybe subsequently since?
Yeah, so I've always struggled with weight, but I was pretty stable for the last 10 years or so before I had kids, and then gained about 100 pounds
Mm.
uh, after, that was basically my way of dealing with stress is,
Yeah.
food, and, that is how. And I was an athlete in school, and I used to be into fitness. Uh, but I think for the last 3 years, I wasn't really doing anything, and my first step into self care was actually one of the sessions that you'd hosted. It was a micro session at Microsoft, where it was a 15-minute thing where you taught the importance of breathing. So that was so powerful for me. So yes, yes, it's been like really hard, you know.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I'm past that, and I attended the workshops, and the some of the sessions with Dr. Laura. And right now I'm into spinning, I'm hiking, as well as doing yoga. So that's a long, like, journey for me, which is, and I'm super grateful I can do that. So yeah, it's been really hard dealing with everything. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, isn't that amazing, right? Just a few moments to remind you to breathe, right? It's like the one tool that we all have available to us to handle stress and emotional distress and difficulty is to breathe, and breathe slowly and mindfully and thoughtfully. And I remember when we were doing a call for applications for our global wellness retreat, and I saw your application come in, and I was like, oh, yay! Like Smriti's, prioritizing her time, right? Because it was an investment in you, and also a connection with other women that are going through not exactly the same journey, but something similar. What do you remember about some of those sessions or some of the feelings that came up in connecting with other women?
Yeah, I mean, that was the most powerful thing, knowing you're not alone. There are other people who've had like a similar journey, and the fact that I could get to talk with them, connect with them, I think that was the most powerful thing. And after that, there were things to with self-care that you taught us, like, just take those 5 minutes to, have a breathing session, something like that. But I think that community, that sense of community has been the most powerful thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you've been so active in the community and also within the Microsoft community, right? So October's our month of giving. It's the Angel Aid month of giving, and it's the Microsoft month of giving. And we've got a big event coming up in October, October 22nd, from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And there's a bunch of ways to join. You can join through Teams, you can join through YouTube or Zoom or Facebook Live. Um, if you're a Microsoft employee, you can find more information at aka.ms/Angel Aid Cares. And if you're outside of Microsoft, you can simply go to our website, angelaidcares.org. But Smriti, you have such wisdom and loving energy. Every interaction I have with you, um, I'm just inspired and very, very touched by your strength of spirit. What would you tell another rare mother that is starting this journey, um, like you were 4 years ago? What would you tell her today?
I think, and sorry, this makes me emotional, but I would say, first of all, you're not alone. Reach out, get the help you need, because you may feel guilty that you're prioritizing yourself, but in order to take care of your kids, you need to prioritize yourself. So I think that's something that I've learned over the years. Um, and it has really helped me. And it was not easy to learn that, because you don't want to do that, right? Especially when you're going through a situation like that. But I think that's the most important thing you can do to help your family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And um, your gift back to the broader rare community is this, is you just being so open and being so lovingly available and sharing your message, and also opening up our training to a whole group of women who speak Hindi. So we're so grateful to you,
Yeah, but
Smriti. Thank you.
thank you, and thank you for, starting something like this. And I will, like, and people like me will, always support it, because nobody thinks about, like, something for mothers. Like, there's so many support things for, like, there's a support group for my child's condition, and there's a support group for school things and things like that, right? But something like this is the first time I've come across it, and I really hope everything we do makes a difference, and we can reach out to more and more women and families. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And I look forward to doing it with you. So, well, thank you, Smriti. We will see you in our hackathons. We'll see you in our give campaigns, and we'll see you in our groups, in our Rare Mother groups. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Crystal.